Hi guys, in this video I'm going to talk about the Illuminati, representation and symbolism. The first thing I want to talk about is General Grievous in Star Wars. Now he represents the Grievous head wound that is coming. Some would say that the Grievous head wound has already come because of Isis's beheadings and stuff like that. But General Grievous receives a head wound when Obi-Wan shoots him with a laser pistol in the head, and then his head sets on fire. Right, now the next thing I want to talk about is really creepy, right? Because, right, Mary Magdalene, I think that's how you say it, Mary Magdalene, yeah, there was rumours that she was a prostitute, and another name for a prostitute is a whore. So it's like, I'm sure you've heard, like, the things about the great whore. I don't know whether that's in the Bible but it's in scripture anyway. And Mary Magdalene has the same first name as Jesus' mum, which is Mary. Now, Martha Wayne in Batman v Superman, she was Bruce Wayne's mum who was killed. Now, you also have Martha Kent, who is Superman's mum, but not his biological mum. So, they try to burn Martha Kent with fire, the villains do in the film. So, because Martha Kent is not Clark Kent, aka Superman's real mum, she's not his biological mum, therefore it may be that she could be seen as a Mary Magdalene figure, because who knows, maybe Jesus saw Mary Magdalene as a motherly figure. You don't know, do you? So, but the one thing that doesn't make sense is, if Martha Kent is supposed to represent this great whore, that doesn't make sense really, because nothing about Martha Kent is whore-like. She was totally dedicated to her husband Jonathan. But, on the other hand, in the TV series Smallville, it didn't take her long to move on after her husband Jonathan died, because she sort of had a thing with Lionel Luthor. Now, in the United Nations, there is this weird picture that is sort of on the wall, and it's like some people say it's like from scripture. And basically, like, in the centre is this thing which some people say is the wedding of the Lamb, and then in front of it is like a thing that is shaped like a football, like an American football. And basically, like, some people think that this like represents the nuclear football. And then on the left you've got Jesus' side, but on the right you've got the devil's side. Just like with like Batman vs Superman, you've got Superman, the Jesus Christ character, on the left, and you've got Batman, the devil character, on the right. Just like with Captain America Civil War, where you've got the Jesus Christ character, Captain America, on the left, and you've got the Iron Man devil character on the right. So, I seen a shape on a Keira Knightley advert which resembles this nuclear football. We're getting on to now the similarities between BioShock Infinite and 10 Cloverfield Lane. BioShock Infinite is a video game, 10 Cloverfield Lane is a movie. Right, so basically, right, there's a character in 10 Cloverfield Lane called Emmett DeWitt. Now, in BioShock Infinite, there's a character called Booker DeWitt. See? Two DeWitts. Now, that's the first similarity. Now, think about this, right? Emmett is also the name of the main character in the Lego movie. So it's like, what is it lately about, like, the main male protagonists in movies being called Emma? So, the main male protagonist in BioShock Infinite has the last name DeWitt. Now, here's another similarity. The main male protagonist in 10 Cloverfield Lane also has the last name DeWitt. So I think you see where I'm getting with this anyway. Now we get on to the main female protagonists in these things. Right, so the main female protagonist in BioShock Infinite is Elizabeth DeWitt, otherwise known as Elizabeth Comstock. The main female protagonist in the Lego movie is called Wild Style, and she's played by Elizabeth Banks. Well, another similarity there. Then, this is where it gets really weird, right? The main female protagonist in 10 Cloverfield Lane is called Michelle, but she's played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Now, Elizabeth in BioShock Infinite, Elizabeth Banks, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. But also, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Mary Jesus' mum, and friggin' Mary Magdalene as well. Right, so... yeah, this is getting freaky now, guys. Right, so, in BioShock Infinite, there is a lot of things to do with Paris. But there's also a lot of things to do with Paris in 10 Cloverfield Lane as well. And is it just a coincidence that there's just, like, been Paris attacks lately? It's, like, almost like it's prophesying it or predicting it or something. In the BioShock Infinite main game, like, the first time you see, like, Paris is, like, through a tear. And then it's, like, you have to wait until, like, the last DLC of, like, Burial at Sea before you actually get to like, play as Elizabeth, like, actually in Paris. In 10 Cloverfield Lane, you see the Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character, Michelle. She's wearing, like, a shirt that's got, like, the Eiffel Tower on it, so it's, like, Paris. So, basically, it's a shirt that belongs to, the main antagonist's daughter, Megan, who he killed. Sorry about the spoilers, and by the way, here's more spoilers coming, by the way. If you played, like, BioShock Infinite right to the end, like the main game, I mean, you would know that, what's it, like, Booker is Comstock. So it's really weird. He's the main antagonist, but he's also the main protagonist. Booker, like, essentially tries to kill himself in his own crib, like, when he was a baby, to stop him, like, doing all of, like, the evil deeds in the future. Like, the main, antagonist in 10 Cloverfield Lane, he's called, Howard, and, he's played by John Goodman. Anyway, he sees, like, the Mary Elizabeth Winstead's Michelle character as, like a replacement for his daughter. He almost sees her as his daughter, like, because there's a whole scene where they're playing a game and stuff, and he just, like, refers to her as, like, a girl and a princess rather than a woman. And in a later scene, he even like gives her ice cream and stuff. Well, he tries to give her ice cream anyway. It's like the same thing with Elizabeth in BioShock Infinite, though. Like, even though Elizabeth is, like, grown up and mature, just like Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character is, like, Booker, who is Elizabeth's dad, like, sometimes treats her like a young girl, like she's immature, even though she's mature. Like the Jesse Eisenberg character, Lex Luthor in Batman v Superman, he shows Superman some, like, photos of Martha Kent, and, like, she's got, like, witch carved in her head. and it's like because like witches were like burnt alive and stuff. Some people would class like Elizabeth in BioShock Infinite as a witch because she can like open up tears. I don't know if that's ever sprung to anyone's minds. Going back to the general Grievous thing, like when his head was set on fire, when Obi-Wan like shot it, that could somehow be linked to Martha Kent having the threat of being set on fire. So if you accept that basically like Elizabeth in BioShock Infinite and Mary Elizabeth Winstead are supposed to represent the same person, then basically death always follows these characters around. Like Lady Comstock, she died, Booker dies, and there's quite a lot of stuff that Mary Elizabeth Winstead's in where people die. She was in 10 Cloverfield Lane, where both the John Goodman character, who's called Howard, dies, but also the Emmett's character dies as well. But also Mary Elizabeth Winstead, she was in The Returns as well, and loads of people die in that. Like the Simon character, for example. I know they all come back to life because that's the premise of the show. They all come back from the dead. But it's this character or characters, death seems to follow her around. She brings death to all the lives she touches. It doesn't matter what timeline it is or what dimension and stuff, because in BioShock Infinite there's loads of different dimensions and realities and stuff, and it's always the same outcome or a similar outcome that the Booker ends up dying, basically. So, I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous in a way, because The Return, it's people dying and then they're rising from the dead. Now, does this seem familiar, to the Jesus story where he dies and then he rises from the dead? And it's I mean, what the hell? I mean, it could even link to anything that it's had zombies in, such as The Walking Dead and Resident Evil. But also it links back to bloody Batman vs Superman as well, because Superman died, but I can almost guarantee that he's going to rise from the dead. So I guess Kylo Ren in Star Wars and Darth Vader in Star Wars, they sort of represent the devil character. Same with the Emperor, really, because they all wear black. Batman wears black as well, so he could also be considered the devil character. Right, spoiler alert, guys. Han Solo died in Star Wars The Force Awakens, but maybe, just maybe, he might rise from the dead. Who knows? Also, why is Bradley Cooper always the voice of people in films lately? He was the voice of Ben in 10 Cloverfield Lane, but he was also the voice of Rocket Raccoon in Guardians of the Galaxy. So possibly that has some link to do with the Illuminati. I don't know what exactly. Maybe it's a voice of God thing. I don't know what it is, to be honest. But J.J. Abrams, he produced 10 Cloverfield Lane, but he directed Star Wars The Force Awakens. So yeah, I'm sorry if this freaked you out, guys, but I know it's a bit extreme, but hope you had a good Easter, and bye for now.